Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. I got going a little bit late today because I had to drop my son off at school, and then I'll admit it, I went to Crystal and got a low-carb sausage bowl, which is sausage and eggs and cheese, and it was good. And then I got back here, and it's time to get rolling now. The first thing that I want to bring you, this one kind of blew my mind. I mean, the economies around the world must be worse than we think, because when you're seeing things like this is really where it starts to get kind of creepy. From XRP Honey Bear, liquidity sounds like a job for XRP, and they're tweeting this article here. UN facing worst cash crisis in nearly a decade, warns that staff could go unpaid in November. Speaking in front of UN's budget-setting Fifth Committee on Tuesday, Guterres said the situation was so desperate that last month's General Assembly in New York was only possible because of emergency spending cuts made earlier in the year. The organization is facing a severe financial crisis, they said. To be more specific, a severe liquidity crisis. The equation is simple. Without cash, the budget cannot be properly implemented. And this is the interesting part right here. The United Nations is facing the worst cash crisis in nearly, and it says, because almost 1/3 of its member states have not paid their annual dues, according to the Secretary General. So that tells me that the countries around the world are starting to have financial leaks. That, to me, tells us a lot. Okay, Mr. B at XRP Mr. sent me this yesterday. This is from a tweet from Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase. Excited to see the Coinbase Pro mobile app launch in Apple App Store today. Happy trading. Now, I want to show you this tweet. Today, we're proud to announce the launch of Coinbase Pro trading app, designed to provide advanced crypto traders with information and tools to make trades on the go. The app will enable traders to capitalize on market conditions at any time, wherever they are. You know, while I downloaded this, the app works great so far from what I've seen. I would encourage any of you to do what I'm doing and what I think I've heard others talk about doing, and that is, to put a little bit, it doesn't have to be a lot, but put a little bit on some of these places like Coinbase Pro with your first sellout point, like a limit sell order, so that if you're asleep, because trust me, this can happen very fast. If you're asleep one night and all of a sudden you wake up and XRP is at $1.50 and you slept right on through it when $1.50 was one of your sell points. I'm not saying it is or it should be. I'm just saying you ought to be thinking about that type of thing, because I'm thinking about that type of thing. So anyway, this Coinbase Pro is one of the best exit points in this, even though they went up on their fees the other day. I think they went up on their fees because they know that sooner rather than later, this thing's going off. Okay, this fascinated me. I got this from Free American Spirit. He said, hey, Ben, that's Bitcoin Ben. He's a Litecoin guy. I hate to ruin your vacation, but you may have to bankroll the Litecoin Foundation to keep your dream alive. Can't believe. Now, I'm not going to say all this. I don't call people this kind of stuff on my channel. I don't want to do that kind of thing. That's not what I want to get at. I'm not going to say what this guy is or is not. I'll say if I disagree with some of the things he says or does, but I'm not going to call him a name or anything. But I just wanted to show you this article. Litecoin Foundation running out of money. Litecoin Foundation barely has any money left, down from more than $1 million in income last year to $70,000 in the minus this year. That 1 million income was mainly due to a donation of 833,000, but they also made about 200,000 in merchandise sales. What is meant by that is not clear, but presumably it's t-shirts with HODL on it and Litecoin Summit, their conference. For this year, they puzzlingly, I don't even know if that's a word, made an $80,000 loss from merchandise, which cost $280,000, but brought in only $200,000. How can you lose money from selling t-shirts is not clear. Now, folks, I only want to make one point. I don't want to disparage this guy's name. Don't want to do any of that. But what I do want to do is I want you, like I always tell you, do I need to draw you a damn picture? Read this article, reread this article, and then go read every article I've ever shown you about Ripple. What you're talking about here is Ripple versus, or XRP versus Litecoin. You're talking about let me see if I can come up with a good comparison. You're talking about Litecoin, a comic book, versus a famous novel, Gone with the Wind, with XRP. You're talking about a Pinto in Litecoin versus a freaking gold-plated Rolls Royce in XRP. There is no comparison. This is a joke. This is something I've never been able to figure out. The only people I've ever had any kind of a real intellectual conversation with about Litecoin are only invested in it because at some point somewhere somebody called it the silver to Bitcoin's gold, and because they think that all boats will rise. Those are the only two real reasons I've ever heard. It is a complete and utter joke compared to XRP, and I've never understood it. It is the one digital asset I have never understood. We all know the flaws of proof of work. If you're going to go with proof of work, why would you not go with Bitcoin? That's kind of been always been my thought pattern. If your position is, oh, well, Litecoin's faster, well, then go with XRP because it's light years faster than both of them. If speed's what you're concerned about, then ditch Litecoin and go to XRP. But look, folks, they're talking about t-shirt sales. T-shirt sales. Wake up, people. We're talking about meetings with central bankers, multiple central bankers, payment companies, huge, massive banks. We're talking about meetings with people that run the world while they're talking about financial problems over t-shirt sales. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay. Yesterday I talked about Michael Arrington was trying to get a ticket to Swell. And if you want to see who Ripple's dealing with while we're talking about Litecoin t-shirt sales, go look at the Swell website and look at the people that are going to be in that room. It says, and then Ripple replied to him when he was saying he can't get a ticket. They said, a new reality unfolds. Check your inbox. What's this party you speak of? Am I invited? Yeah, they'll invite Michael Arrington. Okay. Sergeant Obi-Wan at Sergeant Obi-Wan sent me this one. Now I want to give a caveat here. I'm not saying that I believe the numbers he's throwing. I'm saying that his email, his Twitter message here intrigued me enough. I thought I showed you this part yesterday, and his reply to himself intrigued me enough that I think it's something worthy of presenting to you and letting you see what you think of it. He says the 50 billion XRP in escrow will be used by the IMF at their discretion. At $1,000 XRP, they would have more than enough to buy out whomever they wish. $1,000 XRP could be just the beginning. There is no ceiling to how high it can go. Global domination. Now, the reason I wanted to show this is because we have seen so many examples of Ripple in meetings with IMF, Ripple on stage with people from the IMF, Christine Lagarde saying the word Ripple, Christine Lagarde saying it's not Bitcoin or Ethereum. There is something going on with the IMF. We just don't know what it is. And so when I see these kind of comments, I think it's food for thought. Okay. Next, from XRP Veteran, not surprised why Swell is at Singapore this year. Singapore overtakes the U.S. to become the world's most competitive country. The 10 most competitive countries in the world. Singapore is number one. There's a reason for that, folks. I told you yesterday I was listening to an Anthony Pompliano podcast with Mark Yusko, who is his partner at Morgan Creek Digital Assets. Mark Yusko made a comment in that podcast, and he said that in Singapore, and I don't remember exactly how he said they did it, but he said the government of Singapore puts major investments in venture capital, and they invest in the smartest innovators around the world. And he said for that reason, their society is getting more and more wealthy. And I can't remember how he was comparing that to the United States, but more or less, meanwhile, over in the United States, we're just running up debts and putting out all this debt and all this stuff and not really embracing technology. And I think he was making the point more or less that the United States is at the end of the line with our Congress that's talking about Bitcoin at innovation and embracing it and getting the legislation and regulations passed to make this happen. And he was talking about the stranglehold and where did I hear yesterday? It may have been on that same podcast. No, I know where it was from. It was from, I was watching yesterday also, I was watching a YouTube video, a guy that I have learned to really like, and his name's Crypto Beatles. I don't think he's for one particular digital asset, but he does a really good show. He's got an awesome radio voice. He's like, oh, I am Crypto Beatles. And you'll see him on commercials in crypto, but he does a really good job. He goes around to the conferences and all that. Anyway, he was interviewing Rand Neuner, Rand Neuner runs the CNBC crypto show. Very bright guy. He's from South Africa. Rand Neuner moved to New York. When he moved to New York, he said that when he got to New York, he could not believe. He said all of the entrepreneurs in New York that he talks to spend all of their time trying to make sure that they're not breaking the ridiculous regulations and laws in New York. He said it's the most regulated place he's ever been in the world. And he was talking about how for that reason, the U.S. is getting crushed in all of this. And our politicians are so entrenched and they're all fat and happy. And they're literally in the midst of destroying this country and are too stupid to know it. And he didn't say that. I'm saying that. But anyway, this is what this reminded me of, those two things. All right. King Solomon, October 9th, 2019, cleansing statement. I don't even know what a cleansing statement is, but this statement from this bank in Italy is worth your seeing. The cannibalization of the traditional value chain via open banking and Ripple through use of so-called stable coins now used for international payments. In other words, Ripple. Now, remember, David Schwartz put out the video this week about how you would create a Ripple, an XRP stable coin. That's not a coincidence. He didn't put that video out for no reason. I saw somebody tweet that out a few minutes ago. But look at this. Through use of so-called stable coins now used for international payments. This is from this bank. In the long term, the evolution of blockchain and distributed ledger technology could lead to the growth of new payment technologies, also able to disintermediate part of the value chain of payment cards, for example, through the use of dedicated cryptocurrencies, so-called stable coins, now essentially used for international payments. In other words, Ripple. And then he's got this in here from Net, shows that it's Nexi Bank. All right, that guy is on top of it. XRP Bart sent this. I'm not going to go into the article. I just want to show this to you. Oh, yeah, back launches and there's big nothing. No, things don't happen overnight. Crypto exchange back revs up. Bitcoin futures trading soars more than 700%. It's coming, folks. This train's coming down the tracks, whether you like it or not. Okay, Jonathan D at XRP _YD7. From Wrath of Kahneman, this is big. The U.S. Fed has approved changes to the Volcker rule, which could potentially make crypto FX swaps more feasible, excluding liquidity management from previous regulation. Takes effect January 1 of 2020, enforced January 1 of 2021. And remember, on that Volcker rule, they also exempted small banks from some rules not too long ago, and we covered that. This means something, folks. Okay, XRP Standard Productions. I wanted to show you this because this guy does like XRP short stories, and he's done another one. It's welcome night at the manor, and the corpses are filled with nervous excitement. But who is the mysterious guest of honor? Enjoy the dustpan, the most ambitious production to date from XRP Productions. By the way, you won't want to miss the end. Now, he did this in Cinnamon Video, which just launched yesterday, is my understanding. So go give him a watch on this when you get a chance. He's at XRP_productions. Okay, and finally, I saw this. I tried to find something faster than the XRPL. Look how cool this guy's motorcycle looks like Batman's motorcycle. XRP. Look at that thing. I mean, it looks straight out of a Batman movie. Awesome. I don't ride motorcycles, and I would not ride motorcycles on the road, but that's a good looking one if I was going to. Now, finally, I've got a treat for you all. I got a call before I started this video from the official language snob of the Digital Asset Investor channel. And I told him that I was going to call him for the first time. Before I call him, I wanted to tell you that this is a tweet from Aaron Paul. Today on Netflix, the Breaking Bad movie starts, and I wanted to use this occasion to talk to the official language snob of the Digital Asset Investor channel. So here he is. Am I speaking to the official language snob of the Digital Asset Investor channel? Okay. Before we get down to business and let you decipher some language for me here, I wanted to see if you were okay with a change. I like the soup Nazi from Seinfeld, so I thought that it would be better if we changed your name to the official language Nazi of the Digital Asset Investor channel. Would that be approved by you? Okay. Now, you told me today that the Breaking Bad movie is starting today, and I wanted to check with you on something I always wondered. If you remember in Breaking Bad, was it Gus Free who was the drug dealer, and he was running the drug operation through his chicken restaurant called? Was it Gus Free or was it Gus Frang? Frang. See, that's why you're here. Okay. Gus Frang had this restaurant, and it was called Los Pollos Hermanos. Los Pollos Hermanos. Los Pollos Hermanos. Did I get it? Okay. Now, just to remind the audience, you got your name because at one point you were so disgusted because I had mentioned, what's the country? Dubai. What was I talking about that yeah. And I said, okay, so it's Abu Dhabi. Okay. All right. Is there anything else you need to correct me on before I let you go? Thank you for listening. I'm the Digital Asset Investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that the official language Nazi of the Digital Asset Investor channel called in today. Thanks. Yes.